Wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Welcome to our series on the lawful and the unlawful. And this class too is very, very important for everyone to join, because another issue, not only do the majority of the Muslims have are deficit in their aqidah or their belief system, but also we have found that most of the Muslims today are not even educated as to what's lawful and what is unlawful in Islam. Some things are lawful and some things are unlawful. Most things in life are lawful, but we need to know what those unlawful things are as well. So that's what this class is. This class teaches you what the lawful and the unlawful things are in Islam. And we have been speaking in detail about marriage, the lawful and the unlawful in regards to marriage. And then we talked about divorce, the lawful and the unlawful in regards to divorce. First of all, is it true that of all the things that Allah made lawful, the thing he hates is the fact that he made divorce lawful? Is that statement true or false?
It's false. Allah didn't make anything. He doesn't hate anything that he permitted us to do.
He doesn't hate anything he allows us to do. Okay, well, what about the hadith that says that? There's a hadith that says Allah hates divorce. What about that hadith?
That hadith is not true. Allah never hates anything that he makes, that he made.
Exactly. And I want y'all to say that. You have to correct the innovators, because there's a lot of stuff they say that's not true, that's not authentic. I tell you guys, 65% of the hadiths in Abu Dawood are not authentic. 65% of the hadiths in Tirmidhi are not authentic. 70% of the hadiths in Mishkat are not authentic. You know, the only two authenticated books are Bukhari and Muslim. So we have to be very careful reading these other books. That's why you cannot teach yourself this deen. That's why the Prophet said, ask the people of knowledge. You have to learn, because you don't know if what you're reading is authentic or not. Just like that hadith about paradise being at the foot of the mother. That is a lie too. That's not authentic. The Prophet never said that. Okay, people take the meaning of other hadiths and twist them around to throw other stuff in it. And it's still a lie though. Well, just like that hadith about paradise being at the foot of the mother is not authentic, neither is the hadith that says that Allah, of all the things Allah made lawful, the thing he hates is divorce. That hadith is not authentic, because Allah tells us in the Quran, Allah says in the Quran, everything he made lawful is good and clean. And Allah loves that which is good and clean. That's a verse of the Quran. So that hadith would contradict that. That's how you know it's not authentic. Because everything Allah made lawful is good and clean. And Allah even goes on to tell us in the Quran, perhaps you hate something that he made lawful that brings about a lot of good. So again, we have to be careful with what we hear people say. Okay? If it's lawful, it's good and clean. And if it's lawful, that means Allah likes it. Allah says in the Quran, the only thing he hates are the things he made haram. He didn't make divorce haram. So he does not hate it. It's good and clean. I mean, divorce is good and clean. It's not bad and dirty. Everybody understand that? So be careful. And we talked about how, oftentimes a person may find him or herself in a marriage and they thought the marriage would be good, but the marriage ends up not being good. Or the marriage may be okay, but they find out that the man or the woman got some problems. For example, problems in the bedroom. That's what we talked about last week. Last week, we spoke about the things that are haram in regards to sexual relations between a husband and wife. Who can tell us what are the things that are haram for us to do as a husband and wife team sexually?
One thing is anal, how do you say that word? Anal sex.
Okay, one of the things that we cannot do is anal sex. Anything else? Come on, people, wake up.
You can't have sex on a woman when she's on her menses.
Exactly. Allah says you can do whatever you want to your husband or wife except anal sex and sex on menses. Is there anything else that's haram sexually?
No, that is
okay, exactly. Everything else is lawful. What about those things that Allah didn't mention? Allah didn't mention nothing about whipped cream. Allah didn't mention nothing about strawberries. Allah didn't mention nothing about positions. Are there any positions that's haram? So what about all these different things that Allah didn't mention? Are they haram sexually?
If you don't mention them, they're not haram. They concession. So keep your mouth closed and do it.
Okay, and is there any evidence from the Quran about any of that?
It said that, something about if it's a concession, if it wasn't mentioned.
Okay, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the things that Allah does not mention are lawful because they are all concessions. And we must learn to accept the concessions of Allah. So that ends the whole topic on sexual relations. Whatever you think of that hasn't been mentioned, that means it's lawful. The things you cannot do are anal relations and menses relations. Okay, what about polygamy? We also talked about polygamy, okay, in relationships. You know, are there rules and guidelines for polygamy? Okay, if a man wants all his wives to move and live in one house, like the big love people do, can he make you do that? Can he make all his wives downsize and move into one house?
No, he can't, because as a Muslim woman, you have the right to have your own housing and space so that you don't have to enter into a relationship like that.
Exactly. That's a right that Allah gave every woman. That's why there's no need for feminists. Okay, every woman. Allah says every woman. The Prophet Muhammad says every woman has the right to her own accommodations. That means her own home. Your husband cannot decide to downsize and put all his wives in one house. You tell him, oh, no, not here. Are you out your mind? Oh, heck no. You better bounce. That's my right. I don't want to live with no other woman. I want to see you with no other woman. Are you crazy? You got some perverted activities? Are you out your mind, Aki? So a man can't force a woman into none of that type of stuff. A woman can tell him, heck no. And either he do what Allah said do and accommodate her, or let her go. And Allah will find her a man that can do better. So Allah has set the laws in effect and the rules and guidelines in effect for marriage for us. Okay? What about this? Can a man have relations with all his wives at the same time? We married. So can my husband say, I want all my wives to come over here and we're going to all have our little relations together? Y'all don't know? And y'all Muslims, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all some sick people.
No, you know that will not happen. Oh, no. Because each woman is supposed to have their own private time. You're
Exactly.
not gonna jam me up at 5 with 4 other women. Are you kidding?
And I want y'all to understand that this is not LDS, Mormon, big love crap. This is haram. We cannot have sexual relations with anyone watching. You cannot have sexual relations with 2, 3, 4 other people. It's only your husband and you behind closed doors. That's it. So Allah makes these rules, and we have to abide by it. Anybody that doesn't abide by it, you've committed a horrific sin. A horrific sin. Y'all understand that? So there's laws and rules that we have to live by, even with polygamy. Your marriage to those other women are your marriage. Am I married to those other women? Are those other women my sister wives?
No.
No, there's no sister wife in Islam. I have nothing to do with her. That's her business. Her relationship with you and her children with you are your business. They have nothing to do with me. I ain't got no say so. My business is my marriage with you and my children with you. Y'all understand that? Y'all see it's a big difference between how the Kafirs swing. Y'all understand that? The Kafirs don't swing. They swing. Muslims don't swing. We live by laws, rules, guidance, guidelines. Everybody got that? So we talked about the rules of marriage. But if something happens and you find out that your husband is violating your rights, or a woman, what rights does the man have over the woman? What rights does a man have over his wife?
The rights that a man has over his wife is she cannot allow another anyone to enter his home that he does not like, no matter what reason that is, whether that be your brother, sister, mother, no matter. And also another right he has is she cannot refuse the bed for him. Other than the fact that if there's something going on with her that, you know, oversees why she can't do her duties to him. But yeah.
Exactly. So the man has rights too. You can't allow anybody in your house unless he approves of it. Can the woman leave her house without his approval?
No.
No, you can't even leave your house without his approval. If your husband tell you that he doesn't want you going grocery shopping because he thinking that it's dangerous, don't go grocery shopping. Instead, Instacart, DoorDash, or let him do the shopping. You have to obey him and be thankful that you got a man that cares, because some men don't give a darn. Get popped. Okay, I'll replace her with another wife. Keep it moving. Pop her, roll her into the ocean, and keep it going. I was tired of it anyway. So you better be glad you got a man that care enough about you to protect you, because the home is better for you. That's why your blessings as a woman lie in the house anyway. So that's a right he has. You can't go without his approval. You can't allow nobody in without his approval. You have to guard in his absence. What does it mean to guard in your husband's absence? What he would have you guard. What does that mean?
It means protect his home, his rights. Protect his home, protect his rights. He has rights over you. So you have to treat him and protect his home, his personal properties, his money, his everything.
Exactly. Even if he ain't there. You can't be one of those women that only do it when he's around. Then when he goes out of town to travel on business, oh, you gonna let go and go free and do your thing. No, you have to guard in his absence what you would guard if he was there. That means take care of yourself, guard yourself, the children, the house, his property, and all of that. So Islam is a check and balance, and he's got to guard himself too for you. He's got to guard himself for you. Let's talk about it. Let's see if y'all can remember. Are there any rules for a man in regards to traveling? Are there any rules that Allah made for men in regards to traveling? Y'all can't remember hadiths? We talked about this type of stuff in another class. You hear all these hadiths. This is how you women get weaponized by the deen. Let's see if y'all can listen to this woman named Layla. Are there any rules for men who travel? Good job, Brother Merard. They have to travel in a group of 2 or more brothers. Exactly. That's your protection. That's how the man guards in your absence what Allah would have him guard. The prophet said that a man that travels in a group of 2, they're both like 2 devils. They should have at least 3 in that group. So if the other 2 are tempted to go to the strip club, the third one can say, no, we ain't doing that, Aki, because men are weak to women. Y'all forgot that hadith, people at Sunnahfollowers? This is how y'all allow men to weaponize the deen against you. Because when I teach y'all these hadiths, you don't remember them. You let them go out your head. And you might end up marrying some dude that's going to tell you that you can't leave your house to even visit your mother. But he's out of town every day by himself doing God knows what. Or he's with his brother doing God knows what. When it should be 3 in a group, at least 3 men. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't hear nobody talk about that, though, do you? And all these brothers travel the dawah circuit. Let's talk about it. Look at all these famous brothers on the dawah circuit. And look what's happening. They being exposed. Look what happened to Ramadan. What's his name? The handsome dude from, North Africa, where my people from. Got caught up in all these sexcapades. Traveling around doing the dawah scene alone. See, you had to have 3 with you. The other 2 brothers would have stopped you from those meetings with women. So y'all got these famous personalities, these brothers of the dawah who are getting caught up in sexcapades. Harun Yahya is another one, and there's a whole bunch of them here in America too. These American famous brothers y'all follow, caught up in sexcapades, traveling in the name of dawah. Who were they with? Most of these brothers have been traveling by themselves. Where was the other 2 to accompany you? Not 2, 3. It should be at least 3. The prophet said at least 3. So if the 2 of you are tempted, that third can talk sense into you, because that's how weak a man is. Y'all better remember these hadiths, man. Y'all going to keep on being abused by men when Allah gave women more rights than he did men. The reality is you sisters have more rights than men have. There's a lot of restrictions Allah put on men for travel. There's some restrictions that Allah put on men in how they dress, but y'all don't know none of them. Okay? And you busy trying to be a feminist. There's no need for feminism because you were liberated decades ago. You just don't know. Wake up. So we talked about marriage and divorce. So if the marriage fails because of violation of the rights that Allah has given us, people are not living their lives. The brother traveling out of town all the time. He ain't never home. Or, hanky panky stanky stuff going on. So we need a divorce. So when it gets to this point where it goes to divorce, there are certain rules and certain guidelines that Allah gave us in regards to divorce, like he did for marriage. And that's what we're going to look at today. Let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen so we can take a look at the rules and guidelines for divorce. Allah knows his creation better than we know ourselves. That's why he made these laws. That's why he made these rules. So, divorce between the spouses. Let's take a look at it. Number one, you cannot divorce a woman when she's on her period. Okay? The suitable time is when the woman is clean from her period. She's clean from bleeding because she had a baby. And you cannot have had sex with her right before you divorce her. So you cannot divorce a woman on her period. You cannot have sex with her, then after you through, say, I divorce you. Nor also pregnancy. And you know that she's pregnant. You have to wait until the baby is born. Once the baby, if you don't take her back before the baby is born, then that's when the divorce ends in pregnancy. Does everybody understand that? And Allah did this because he knows his creation better than we know herself. First of all, women, we suffer with PMS. That's the deficiency. A woman is deficient not because a man is better than her. No. Lots of women are more intelligent than men. Look at Aisha radiallahu anha. Look at Salama. Salama and Aisha were two of the most intelligent women ever. They were more intelligent than most of the men of their time and today too. So the deficiency is not because of a woman's brain. It's because, number one, she's weaker than men physically. And number two, we're more emotional than men because we have menses. It makes our hormones go up and down. So this is why a man cannot divorce a woman on her menses. She probably wasn't at her best at that time. She was probably dealing with hormonal issues. Also, men are weaker than women sexually. A man could have been upset because he couldn't have sex with his wife. So he's suffering with anxiety and he's acting like a fool. So because we both go through issues during the time of month, this is why we can't divorce during the time of month. It makes sense. Y'all see the hikmah, the wisdom of Allah. We cannot divorce when I'm on my menses because you got anxiety because you can't park it. And I'm going through anxiety because my hormones are going crazy. Allah knows his creation. Okay? And the reason why you cannot have relations with your wife and divorce her because this is bad. Allah hates injustice. You don't make no woman feel like she's nothing. Remember, Islam came and gave rights to women in the dark ages that they never had before. Men used to have relations with the women and kill them afterwards. This is no good. This is not right. This is unjust. So you cannot have relations with a woman and then after you through using her say, by the way, I divorce you. No, you can't do that. And also, if you find out she's pregnant, you still have to take care of that woman all during her pregnancy. So if she's pregnant, you have to wait until the pregnancy has ended. We have the hadith, whereas Ibn Umar, he divorced his wife when she was on her menses. And he went and told the Prophet. And when he told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam became so angry. And he told him, go back and take her back. After her menses is over, if you still want to divorce her, wait till she's clean. And do not have relations with her. And then divorce her. Allah says in the Quran, in the interpretation, the meaning, O Prophet, when you men divorce women, divorce them during a prescribed time, not when you feel like it. So a lot of sisters might ask, well, Sister Layla, what if my husband divorced me on my period? Does it count? No, it doesn't count. Just like the Prophet told Ibn Umar, go back to her. It doesn't count. because it was wrong. You didn't do it within the guidelines of Allah. So if he divorced you on your period, it doesn't count. If he divorced you while you were pregnant, it doesn't count. If he had sex with you and then afterwards divorced you, it doesn't count. Y'all understand that? But it has to be for those three reasons to not count. Everybody understand that? This is clear. What about this? Some men will swear an oath of divorce. What does that mean? How many of you sisters are married or have been married to immature men who will get angry and say, if you don't have my food ready for me by the time I get home from work, I'm going to divorce you? How many of you sisters were married to men who say, I swear by Allah, wallahi, if my dinner ain't ready, I'm divorcing you, or you're divorced? A lot of women have been married to men like that because some men are just plain ignorant. Most men are. Okay? Well, does it count? Can a man do that? Let's see what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. It is not permissible for a Muslim to swear to take an oath of divorce or promising or threatening. You can't threaten a woman with divorce. Does everybody understand that? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, anyone who swears by anything other than Allah has committed shirk. This is shirk. Okay? So you cannot say that if you don't do this, I swear by Allah, I'm divorcing you. Or if you don't do that, I promise, you're going to be divorced. This is haram. So does it count? No, it doesn't count. If it's done haramly, it doesn't count. Two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs cancel out. Okay? So because my husband was stupid enough to swear by Allah that he was going to divorce me because I didn't cook chicken, that's his problem. He has to pay the expiation. The divorce does not count, and he has to pay the expiation for swearing to do something that he couldn't do. So the sin is on him. Do you brothers understand that? Divorce is a serious matter. We should never play with it. You brothers should never use the word divorce at all unless you mean it. Does everybody understand? All right, let's see what else. So the question, I want y'all to remember, if a man divorces a woman on her period, if a man divorces a woman when she's pregnant, if a man divorces a woman after having sex with her, or if a man swears by Allah that he's going to divorce you if you don't do this, or if you do that, these four things don't count. So Allah saves your marriage with those four things. Okay? Y'all got that? So, where does a woman stay when she's divorced? This is a big question that a lot of Muslims ask. Islam requires that the divorced woman remain in her husband's house. Why? Because he still has to provide and maintain her during that waiting period. Also, if the husband has divorced you for the first time or the second time, he has the right to take you back. He has a right to take you back as his wife. So that's another reason why you don't leave his house. Okay? The husband cannot kick you out of his house. The husband cannot refuse to care for you. That's the maintenance. He's got to continue to prepare your bills and take care of you until your 3 menstrual cycles have come, or 3 months has passed, whichever comes first. Everybody understand that? And that's based on what Allah says in the Quran and the interpretation of the meaning. Fear your Lord. Do not turn them out of their houses, nor shall they leave on their own accord, unless they committed some clear immorality. These are the limits set by Allah, and whoever transgresses Allah's limits harms his own soul. So your husband can't kick you out the house, nor can he not refuse to take care of you during that waiting period. After the waiting period is over, then that's when you leave. Okay? But not until then. As Allah says, either keep them in kindness or part with them in kindness. Okay? Now, in the event of the third time, there is no staying in the house. If your husband has issued the words of divorce for you, and this is the third time he did it, the marriage is automatically over. You still go through the waiting period to make sure you're not pregnant, but he can't take you back. So since he cannot take you back, that's when you leave. You pack your bags, you get out, go stay with your parents, your family, because you're done with him. Y'all are done. A man can only divorce a woman and take her back twice. That's it. The third time is no taking her back. It's over. These are the laws set by Allah. Okay. And here it is. The Muslim is allowed 3 chances or 3 pronouncements on 3 different occasions. Okay. What about this? What about this? Well, let's first do this. Let me see this. A husband may divorce his wife once and let the waiting period pass. And during the period, he can take her back. The second time, he can do the same thing. But after the third time, that's it. They're free to marry. They cannot be together unless she marries another man and divorces him. Okay? That's it. All right. Now, this is the question I get a lot of. What about 3 pronouncements at once? For those Muslim men who go to their wives and say, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you, it only counts as 1. I don't care what Islam Q&A says. I don't care what Imam come a dime a dozen said. I don't care what Mufti said. I don't care what Sheikh said. I don't care what none of them other people said. We have the hadith, whereas the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was told about a man who issued 3 pronouncements of divorce at one time. The Prophet got angry and said, is he making fun of the book of Allah and I'm still living amongst you? And one of the other companions said, shall I kill him, O Prophet? The Prophet said, no, tell him to go back. That it only counts as 1. It only counts as 1. And even under the caliphate of Abu Bakr would get angry too when he heard men had did this. This counts as only 1. It's haram. So why did Umar make it count as 3? Umar did it to stop the people from abusing it. Okay? But Umar's not amongst us today. We have no caliphate. So the caliph can make rules that to stop the people from transgressing the laws of Allah, but we have no caliph. When the Mahdi comes back, if the Mahdi wants to make all 3 count as 3, he can do that, but he's not here. So and since he's not here, we live by the laws of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet Muhammad said to issue 3 divorces at once only counts as 1. And the man who does that has the wrath of Allah on him because he's making a mockery of this deen. So you brothers need to stop doing that. Okay? All right. Also, when the husband has divorced his wife and the waiting period is over or is going on, he has two alternatives. Either reconcile with her without hurting her, without bringing up whatever made him mad, or he can let her go. Let the divorce go through. Okay? The Prophet Allah has forbidden men from hurting women, from tormenting women. So that means if you're going to take her back, you have to not come back to her and say, let's talk about it again. No, it's over. That means you forgave whatever you was mad at me for. It's done. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation, the meaning. And when you have divorced your women and they have fulfilled their term of waiting, either take them back honorably or release them honorably. But do not keep them just to hurt them, because this is a transgression. And whoever does this has wronged his own soul. And do not take the words of Allah in mockery. Instead, remember Allah's blessings upon you. Okay, so Allah is warning men, don't play games. Divorce is not a game to play. It ain't about hurting no woman. That narcissism that existed. Remember, Islam came to knock out that narcissism that existed then and still exists in the hearts and souls of many of us today. Okay? Finally, once a woman has been divorced, the waiting period has went through, she has the right to marry after that. Does everybody understand that? And I want you women to know, once you have been married and divorced, no one can stop a woman from being married who was previously married. She can marry whoever she chooses. Does everybody understand that? Why? Because this is a woman who has already tasted the sweetness of a man. And she knows herself better than anyone else. What does that mean? The Prophet said that means she knows her weakness to have that sweetness again, to experience that sweetness again. So this is why the Prophet told the men, do not deny them. If a woman who's been divorced comes to you and says she's ready to get married and she wants to get married, don't deny her. Let her marry. Let her marry whoever she wants to marry, because she knows herself better than you. It would be better for her to marry that man and taste his sweetness and they end up divorced than for her to not marry that man and she end up committing adultery or she end up committing fornication because you, her guardians, refused her. Y'all see the hikmah of Allah. Virgin girl's different. Let me use myself as an example. I'm a 62-year-old woman. I done been married several times. I know the facts of life. I know me. I take care of me. I'm a grown woman. If I come to you, my brother or my uncle, and by the way, she can choose any male guardian. For the woman that's been previously married, it doesn't have to be my father. It doesn't have to be my brother. It could be my son. It could be my grandson. It could be my uncle. It could be my granddaddy. It could be cousin Mukhtar. Did y'all know that? A woman that's been previously married, she doesn't have to listen to her father because she done been there, done that. I can pick the one that I know is going to get me married so I don't end up fornicating. So if I know Papa's a Rolling Stone, And Papa's made a stone. I ain't got to go to Papa. I can call cousin Mukhtar and say, hey, Mookie, I'm ready to make that move. I need you to marry me. Okay, no problem. So it's different for the married woman. That's what the prophet means. Don't nobody deny her, because it would be better for her to marry, long as the man is Muslim and he's righteous. That's all. He's a good Muslim dude. He prayed. Now, I don't know. He could end up being a fraud, but let me find that out. After I taste his sweetness, we roll around for a couple of weeks and I realize he don't pray. I know how to kick him to the curb. Okay? I know me. Y'all see these hadiths. I'm trying to break them down in plain English so y'all understand. So that protectiveness that you brothers have is supposed to be but only so much for a woman that done already tasted life. That's why we have a lot of Muslim women committing fornication, because their guardians are too rigid. I'm talking about the women that's been married before. That sister is 30 years old. That sister is 40 years old. She needs to have sex. Let her go on ahead and get married to that Muslim brother over there. Don't deny her. It would be better that she marry him and realize he's a loser and kick him out of her life, rather than her go roll around with that kafir man next door who just taken her because she got a big butt. Y'all get me? You feel me? Is that how Fresno do it? You feel me? You brothers got to stop that with these sisters that's been married before. Okay, so let's continue with this. So for the women that's been married before, it can be any male relative of hers, okay, that can marry her if she wants to get married afterwards. Okay, long as they abide by the laws, you know, the guy's as a Muslim and all of that, and he appears to be a good practicing Muslim. Your personal like about him is none of your, it don't matter. The brother appears to be practicing the deen. The brother appears to be at the mosque. The brother appears to be good. My sister's independent. She can handle herself. Go on ahead and marry my sister. Because my sister ain't stupid. She's like Salama, trained by she's a lioness of Allah, trained by the sword of Allah. If my sister see that you getting ready to make a fool out of her, she gonna kick you to the curb, and she'll roundhouse kick you out of the door anyway. So, hey, I'll marry you to her. She can handle it. She can roll. That's the attitude you men supposed to take for your sisters who have been married previously, because they might need that sex and stuff. A woman's got desires like a man does. And a woman will fall in love with the idea of love, and a woman will be blinded for a minute. But once she gets her groove, her senses will come back. And when she gets her groove off, she'll toss them out and say, what does Ariana Grande say? Next. I'm just keeping it real. These are the experienced women, the experienced older women too. Next. All right. Allah says in the Quran, in the interpretation of meaning, when you divorce women and they complete their iddat, here's my dalil. Where's my dalil? Y'all know I never speak for my own self. And when you divorce women and they complete their waiting period, do not prevent them from marrying their former husbands if they agree to that. This is to instruct those amongst you who believe in Allah that is more virtuous. Now here the prophet is Allah is going on to even say, if the woman and the man got divorced, and it's been it wasn't irrevocable, meaning it wasn't the third time. It was just the first time and the second time. They can go and they want to remarry. You say, I don't want you to remarry him no more. Can't you let them go back and remarry? They done tasted each other. Even in that case, don't deny them. They done tasted each other. If it don't work out, all they got is one more time, then they can't go back. Okay? And also in regards to not denying the woman, as the law says, peace is better. What some men of today do in attempting to prevent their ex-wives from remarrying, intimidating them and their families and all that crap. Peace is better. You know, like the prophet said, a woman that has been married before has more right over herself than anyone. That means she knows herself better than anyone. Don't deny her marriage. If she comes to you telling you she wants to get married and she wants to marry her. Y'all see, this is clear. Allah knows us. You may not understand this, but Allah is the creator of all of us. He knows what he created. He knows us better than we know ourselves. So stop preventing your daughters who have been previously married, who have already tasted the sweetness of a man, from tasting it again. Because when you prevent them, they're fornicating. Like we have a big problem with Muslim women fornicating. And most of these women are having sex with kafir men. That's the sad thing. You know, the Muslim men wouldn't let them get married. So I'm going to go get me a kafir. This kafir man wants to hit it. And they hitting it. That's sad. Because you men got issues. All right. So we're going to stop right here for today. These are the rules right here. Tomorrow, what I'm going to do is give you a quiz over what we discussed today about divorce. And then I'm going to continue speaking a little bit more about some more rules of divorce. So if there's any questions or comments,